Merry Christmas. I'd just like to talk a few things about um, what exactly Christmas means to a certain tribe who don't subscribe to the whole Christmas deal and certain parallels of certain mythologies and in relation to current affairs. So quite a complex little talk, but hopefully we'll unstack a lot of the layers of lies that this certain tribe, the Jewish tribe, like to stack and stack and stack in order to compound the many, many lies, so that there's that many lies, you're in a forest of lies, and you can't tell, the wood from the trees. That's basically what Jews do. They fill the atmosphere with stink, so you don't know what's fresh air because, you know, something not smelling as bad as the other actually smells like fresh air. And that's what the whole deal with Judaism is to stink the place out basically. So so I'd like to start off with, like, I was just thinking about the money situation, the Jews and the shekels and everything that Jews sort of are known for, being tight with the money, not sharing, uh, being inclusive and only inclusive, in the, what's it like the pink pound, is it the pink dollar? It's like it only stays in their community. They won't spend it outside of their community because if they do, it may not come back. That's like the deal with the pink dollar, the pink pound, pink euro, whatever. It's all sort of the same sort of deal. Now that's believing in money in that state, in the state that money comes in only as part of like Federal Reserve notes, Bank of England, Royal Mint, or issued by the ECB, the European Central Bank. And that's not money at all. That's tokens, vouchers of money. So I was just thinking that, like I was talking with a friend just earlier, and the whole gambit was that, like, Jews need to lead both sides of an argument. So, they get a lot of sympathy by leading one side of the argument counter to an argument that's being led by, like, the bad guy type of thing. So the Jews come flying in. Oh, well, we're against that. Well, they're not against it at all. They're forming opposition to it in order to stage manage, control the narrative. So anyone who actually has an idea, a good idea, will get drowned out by all the shit ideas, and that's the way it is. It's like a kettling or a bottlenecking of it's just outmanning everyone. That is the whole gambit of the Jews. So the saying division is our strength or our unity from Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service, or one arm of it, like the main hub. So already by bringing in opposition to a certain uh, thing, they're already creating one division. Now then, if there's any divisions to be made in the next, like in the opposition, for example, or in the one that's being proposed, that's further division. Well, the Jews know, and they always will jump on board in both sides of the division. See what I mean? So they're like, they have to be there. They're always on the toes in that sense, Um, now the thing is, generally there isn't really a combatant of this system other than to get rid of the Jews completely and all their pets, obviously. So until that happens, then it's going to be contending with a lot of Jewish narrative. Now there are not lots and lots of new people coming through with new blogs and new ideas, and it's attacking the narrative and it's straightening people's minds out. For example, you know, when you're a baby, you're born in the hospital, and now what do they give them? 14 different injections. I think I got two, something like that, and then one when I was about 14. I think you got like measles and rubella, something like that, and TB. So maybe three, but two of them were mixed or something. Now they get 14 different ones. Now we're supposed to be living in the first world where progress is being made for, this and that, but actually our birth rate has gone down in the first world. Um, but the third world birth rates continue to zoom up, and much of the medicines that they're getting now are in order to combat diseases that they've suffered from, and all of the monies has come from Europe, basically Europe, America, to help combat all of these diseases. So now they're living longer and having more babies, ergo their populations are absolutely zooming. It makes sense. So, so they don't necessarily want to be where they come from. Generally, they want to be where the money is, that's allowed them to come into existence, which is Europe and America. But the thing is, as we've seen, for example, in Germany, the system isn't exactly set up for such a huge swathe of injection of peoples who are all dependent on um, the indigenous peoples, the ones who've lived there before. So this begins to cripple a country like Sweden, for example. There's 9 million Swedes, and so far they've taken in something like 500,000 refugees in the last 20 years. So if they carry on at that rate, which obviously that rate will increase, like it'll compound on itself, it won't remain steady at that. Plus, there's an ever growing problem in the places where the peoples are coming from. It doesn't take much math to work out that in 20 years Sweden will not be Sweden at all. And I've even heard that many Swedes are leaving Sweden. Certainly, lots have gone to Norway because of the taxes. It's a better tax system there, or something like that. So it's like abandoning land, white flight. Anyway, that's not sustainable because the size of the earth is getting smaller, the transportation's getting better. The answer is in changing the narrative, and at this point in time, it's about the only answer we've got. But it's a top answer in many ways because it goes back to the money issue. What is the issuance of money? Well, the issuance of money is based on money creation. Well, how's money created? You just go to the printer and print it off. Yeah, that's basically what you do. But it has to be warranted and justified to enter into the economy. So, there are two different types of money. You've got your public money and your private money. And what's happening is, because of the nature of the corporatism, a lot of the private money is being released into the public money system, but is not counted as public money because it isn't public money, but it's being used in the public domain for public purposes, and it's getting mixed. It's almost like multiculturalism of money. So I can almost hear you saying, well, how can you have private money and public money? Well, it's simple. If I do a deal with someone, that is a private deal, and that involves private money. Now, we may choose to use public money in that deal, or we may choose not to. First example would be the barter system. So if the guy says to me, I'll paint your fence, and I say, well, I'll wash your windows. So that's the money. That's the exchange of like for like values. Now, money is a representation of like for like values, and that's what money is. End of story. So, like for like values are what are used in exchange for like values. It's that simple. Well, we're getting ripped off because our like for like values are not coming in to our home countries. And the idea is then to devalue our base of exchange, our value system, in order to accommodate the incoming negative equity which we're being landed with. So that facilitates monies to be given, because if you type in KPMG into a search, KPMG money issuance, and you read the PDF there, it's 44 pages, but much of it is gaps and tables and pictures and that. The actual content says money is debt. Right, so if you have a debt-based currency or monetary system, which is what we've got, then the creation of debt is the creation of money. And you can't say that debt isn't being created. So how does that work in relation to Christmas, the time we're in at the moment? Well, there's two ways to look at this then, in this example. There can be many other ways to look at it in other examples. In this example, I'm specifically using two ways to look at it. Okay, so one is that a child was born, as per the story, in a manger with some donkeys, and some kings travelled to follow the star. And he was the Messiah, the bringer of the message, the good fortune. Information is currency. The next one to look at it is, he's the saviour of the world. He will pay for the sinners. He will pay all of the sins of the world. Right? Well, does that not make Jesus the white man, the European, the American, the one who's paying for all of the sins of the world? And a sin, in old ecclesiastical law, we could say it's law because ecclesiastical is the religious element of the morals that made up what the law used to be. Now it's legislation and judicial. Originally it was ecclesiastical, which is religion, and all law was based on moral and conscience. Now this was challenged with the laws that have grown, with the corporate law, the business law. There's a lot less moral justification in many of the laws these days. They're sort of black and white, and certainly in court cases, if it's not brought up, then it won't be used. Whereas before, in the ecclesiastical, that is the idea behind the theory, is that it's to be used. So there's the two different sides and how they stream from the birth of Christ at Christmas. Now, if, as I've said, Jesus was born to pay for the sins of the sinners, then therefore, if sin is a debt, if you continue to owe someone, it's like, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet. There's a few of the Mosaic commandments, because remember, Jesus' commandments are completely different to Moses' 10 commandments. Jesus' commandments are in Matthew, Matthew, book 5 or something, where he's talking about the meek shall inherit the earth. And the meek are inheriting the earth, but they're not paying anything for it. We're being the ones paid for it, and we're the ones who follow Jesus. So we're the king of the Jews. Now, if you follow the money again there, what Jews are, Jews were invited in by the kings, and kings were representative or figureheads of the people. So we are kings of the Jews, because when you base out the aristocracy as being the blue bloods of the people, they're still supposed to represent the people. They're like the insurance company, the protection racket, what we would see today. So that gives the Jews a foothold in. They promised all of the money to the kings. The kings never had any money because they were always spending it, getting drunk, and not living up to the ethics that the people thought they were living up to. And then the people are disempowered because the king's got all the arms and the barons and everyone's in the pocket. So there's another divide, which is the Jewish unity. So this is the quandaries that we're in. It's stacked upon stacked upon stacked. Um, we have to really be on our toes as much as what the Jews are on their toes, because we have everything to gain that belongs to us. And they have everything to gain that doesn't belong to them, but they already have that. So they need to maintain it, and we need to find out ways to continue pushing our agenda to remedy the situation, to bring relief to us, because there's a lot of stress going on, and stress isn't nice. And a lot of it's based in commercialism, and commercial immunity is being zapped. We're not getting any protection in the marketplace. Employment rates are being compromised by the income and people who are being given jobs that are made. They're being given jobs that serve their skills, basically, and the jobs that serve our skills are being taken away, and the rights to private enterprise is being taken away. So it's all being geared to level the minions, as it were, and keep the aristocracy types um, in clover, so that the Jews maintain this position of a special rights citizen, would be the historical sort of conclusion of where they're based in the societal structure. So that's just a little offering for the Yuletide, the Christmas time. You know, we're sort of a little bit separated in Europe because of various separations. Well, who loves that the separations, the divisions? Who loves that? That is their strength and their unity. So let's work together and turn the tables on them, and come out smelling of roses, and let's make this place the beautiful, wonderful world that we're supposed to be living in, with not much work to do, unless we want to push ourselves. That's fine, but a nice, happy, jolly life with plenty of food, plenty of clothes, plenty of natural products and goods around us, and not commercial slaughtering of animals, of industry, of the fish. There's nothing left. They're killing everything. All the forests, like England was supposed to be full of forests. It's gone. There's like a couple of forests left, but it can all grow back. That's one thing about the earth. It does have a lot of potential, shall we say. So have a lovely Christmas and a blessed Yuletide, and look forward to the new year. 2017 is the year for anti-Semitism, which now certainly the British government has concluded that anti-Semitism means uh, hating people for being Jewish solely for that. So, for doing the criminal things that they do, um, you don't have to hate them for, but expose everything that they're doing. They are a working unit. So, to the future.